go.
Welcome to Not Necessarily Not the News. I'm Military Mike, and this is my co-host, the son of comedian, Scott Machette.
Welcome to Maximum Male Models. I'm Scotty Too Hottie, the son of comedian, and we're here live with Big Sexy, Magic Mike, right here, ladies and gentlemen. Military
that
Mike.
Nickname found me somehow again. It shows its ugly head every 10, 15 years.
I think it's a great
danced
nickname.
one freaking time I danced. And it was so funny because I had to split the money with the other bouncers.
Oh, my God.
So while they were standing there, I looked at them and I went, you know that cigarette you're smoking? The money that you bought those cigarettes with was next to my balls.
Oh, my goodness.
Can you say that? Can we say that? Facebook? Will that be okay with you?
I think that's okay.
That's how you got the nickname Big Sexy.
That's how I got the nickname Big Sexy.
I thought Magic Mike, the movie, was based
I was
on
a
you.
bouncer in an S&M fetish club for a while.
Oh, my
That
goodness.
would have been, I would have paid money to see that. Can you imagine him being at the door?
These guys make me look like a Mormon.
Pay me extra, pay me extra. So what was your safe word? Keep going, keep going?
Mr. Producer said, I don't care about your safe word.
All right, well, it's been an incredible week for the news this week. So many stories, so little time.
That's right.
So what we did was we picked a few of the funny ones, and we figured we'd talk about that so that your week will get off to a, what could you say, create a safe space and use inclusive language. Scott, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know what that means.
Well, that proves the whole point why I picked the story.
I know what a safe space is. It involves ESCO walls.
That's a green zone. Are we ready to play the video?
Yeah, this is our new modern military. Take it away, Big Sexy.
So a couple $1 billion in aircraft carriers
Oh, my
and
God.
this.
Bingo.
Hi, my name is Johnny and I use he, him pronouns.
Hi, and I'm Kanchi and I use she, her pronouns.
And we're here to talk about pronouns.
What is a pronoun? A pronoun is how we identify ourselves apart from our name, and it's also how people refer to us in conversations.
Using the right pronouns is a really simple way to affirm someone's identity. It is a signal of acceptance and respect.
If it's a signal of acceptance and respect, how do we go about creating a safe space for everybody?
That's a good question. A really good way to do that is to use inclusive language. Instead of saying something like, hey guys, you can say, hey everyone, or hey team.
It did. I don't think, I'm not wearing that shirt. I'm
can't
telling you
have
right
a story.
now,
Oh,
I
my
am
God.
not wearing that shirt. Have you ever noticed I never wear white shirts? That's
You're not ashamed to be white, though.
No,
Okay.
it's, I mean, you know, it kind of
Just
goes with the
checking.
territory. I'm Sicilian, so I'm actually olive. That's the way we look at it.
Maybe some Ethiopian going back to the colonial years?
So now this video is truthfully and honestly being used by the U.S. Navy.
Yes, sir.
I knew a bunch of Navy guys when I was in the military, and
And they all say the same thing. It's not gay if you're underway.
so I just don't know how this is going over, you know, let's say behind the scenes and liberal news. How about that?
I think even the village people that made the song in the Navy at this point would be like,
Man, this is some bullshit. This is just gone off the rails, man. This gotten a little bit too far.
Why didn't they use military people in the video?
because that wouldn't have been inclusive.
That
You
would
have
be
to be emotionally
exclusive.
sensitive. Yes, that might intimidate. Someone's feelings could get hurt
But
by
if the
it.
situation is, okay,
I agree with you.
boy, I can imagine the ship calls are going to be really strange. Everybody respond to this just no.
We spent how
Battle
many,
stations for them.
how many billions on our military, Mike? And this is the message that we're putting out. Somebody might want to point out that the same week that this was released, China flew 37 fighter jets over Taiwan, because nothing puts fear into the heart of your enemies like sensitivity training.
That's right. I agree. All right.
sir.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to move on to the next story.
Have no fear. Proper pronouns are here, bitches.
Absolutely. All right. So I wanted to do one on, you guessed it, all you can eat pork products. So,
There's a buffet nearby we're supposed to go to.
and look, every time I go to, I can't say the name of the barbecue place, but they never cut up
Why
a
can't you
pig
say
like
the name?
this. Well, because I don't want to. It's a national chain, or
Okay.
at least in the South.
All right.
So it
Well, most
rhymes
folks
with
just said it.
Dunnies. All right. So I brought this up because of these couple of things right here, and I I thought it was a pretty good idea. Now, look, I'm not going to, insult your intelligence by reading these.
$30 trillion?
But, $30 trillion. How many zeros is a trillion?
It's too many.
12.
Too many.
So 3, 0, and then 12 more zeros. All right, so that's almost $92,000 for every person in the United States. But I love the way they corrected this. Okay? They turned around and they said, wait, for the taxpayers. You see what I'm saying? They kind of break it down further into the article. Just the people that pay taxes, what you actually owe back.
Wow.
Let me ask you a question. Is it possible that we could just, I don't know, not pay our loans?
Oh, only if you have the right prerequisites.
Well, okay, from what I understand,
loans.
and I'm not a real smart guy when it comes to this, but I think we owe China a lot of money.
A lot.
I think we owe China
A lot.
trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
And
that's
I say,
For the
since they're
fiercest
acting up,
military money can buy.
I say since they're acting up, we don't pay, you're going to like this part, we don't pay them.
Wow.
We don't pay them back.
No.
We just don't pay the loan.
This is why you're glad that you have a dork on the show, Mike. Even if we hate China.
There's a reason why we...
No, we have to pay them no matter how much we hate them, and let me tell you why. This goes back to Hamilton after the Revolutionary War. He said we got to pay all our debts immediately. The same reason I brought a check to pay you tonight, Mike. You've got to pay your debts. Yeah. Oh my
I
God.
thought that Hamilton said you got to pay all your debts immediately.
That's what I'm
We've
saying.
already shit the bed.
I mean,
Right.
we've been going on
But
this for
my
months,
point is,
or years. Excuse
he
me.
said we shouldn't pay him. I'm saying
I
go
say
back
don't
to
pay him.
Hamilton. You got to pay him.
I'm that guy.
Because then why should anyone else trust us with credit if
Well,
we don't pay your debts? You have
I
to.
say if we stop doling out money to all the other countries in this planet, we probably have enough money to do what we want to do here in the United States.
But that doesn't mean we don't pay our debts now.
Is it-
We change the shit going forward. Agreed, but you
Okay.
don't not pay your dets because
I don't-
Well, they
you know,
gave away too much damn money in foreign aid, so we're not going to pay our
we
debts.
gave $40 billion to the Ukraine, and now they're asking
at least,
for more.
at least.
And it's kind of like, wait a minute,
I can understand it in the beginning, but with a what is it, $30 trillion debt now?
30 trillion
Yeah.
is what they're saying. So
Who's going to give us money when China
you owe
closes our debt?
92,000, I owe 92,000, you owe 92. Everybody,
I thought it was
every person,
I thought it was 600. Now it's 92,000. Boy, these
every
Italians.
person, 6-year-olds.
These Italians really
That are-
charge interest fast when it comes time to
6-year-olds.
collect. We got
6-year-olds that are learning inappropriate things in
Correct.
school.
Correct.
Owe the government $92,000. All right, so
But
the
if
whole
we
thing.
don't pay it, then the debt gets more and more. It's like Pete Rose in a casino. If you don't pay the debt, it just multiplies. It's like me at the Golden Corral, right? If I don't get on the
Absolutely.
scale, it just gets worse.
Well, I love the way they bring up the 57,000 paycheck protection plan.
Oh my gosh. So if people lost money, the federal government's going to refund their losses?
Well, here's the thing, okay, and I don't know if you guys participated in any of this. I worked with a company that asked me to put them in for paycheck protection, okay, for a PPP during COVID. They had employees. They needed money to keep going during it. It made sense. It really did, okay? But the payback is where the confusion is.
Correct.
Because it's from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. You can pay it back or you can not pay it back. Or you can give them some paperwork and pay half of it back.
And
So-
not to make it really sexy and exciting, Mike, but the level of corruption in individual state governments that took all that funding from the federal government for the PPP loans,
Right.
and then didn't do a damn thing to actually give that to their own people in their states, but they took the money from the feds on one hand, and they didn't pay it back.
And the banks that
Yes.
started the PPP
Bingo.
programs in the communities
We should still
were
pay our-
soliciting
Yes.
buying other bank products
Yes.
to get the PPP loan. So it's kind of like,
I know some people that never got their PPP anything, but the states that they live in collected like 4 times fold.
Absolutely.
And then never paid a dime.
Absolutely.
But they got all the money from the feds coming in and never
Does
paid a
this-
cent coming out.
Does this remind anybody of something that happened a couple hundred years ago when the government... Okay, never mind. I digress.
But you should still pay your debts, no matter how much.
I
it's paying.
agree. Pay your debts.
No matter
I know
what.
I'm paying mine.
It's either that or the Italians come to collect. So make sure
That's
you
right.
pay your debts no matter
You never
what.
know, man. The mafia might be behind all of this.
You raised mine from 600 to 92,000.
Illuminati is Italian.
Yeah, I was told
It's not just a spaghetti
his
sauce.
last name ends in a vowel. It must be Italian.
All right.
Illuminati.
All right, so we're going to move on to your next story.
Oh,
All right?
good. This is the
Now,
exciting part.
Here's the part where the producer really comes in handy. I'm going to click on it. Okay, nothing happened. We're good. All right, man, you're up.
So this is a really amazing tale of how far we've come off the rails in our country with the annihilation of history. I was raised in the South. Every battlefield in the Civil War toured since I was 3. And so there's a whole other side of the coin that I'd say the last 2 or 3 generations have been intentionally, ignorantly indoctrinated to believe a false narrative. 98.6% of the Southern population was poor than dirt, didn't have a pot to piss in, and primarily went to war because they were being invaded from a government that was taking their taxes and all the Southern tariffs. They raised the port taxes through the roof and spent all that money up north.
You know, and a lot of it too had to do with a small paycheck.
Yes.
Yeah, because they were actually paying the guys, and back
Yes.
then, even the couple of dollars they were getting
Yes.
made sense.
They raised, this is why South Carolina almost seceded in 1828 and again in 1832. Tariff of abominations. Andrew Jackson, if he wasn't president, it would have happened in 1828, 1832. The northern government raised the port taxes, the tariff taxes at the southern ports through the roof, and then spent all that money up north. It what Lincoln himself, in his own words, called internal improvement projects. So this is how much we've come off the rails. Somebody like me that was raised with the more southern side of understanding of real history, now I'm actually defending Lincoln, okay? Because for his position, he did what he had to do. He was a man of courage. He held the country together. And now the super wokes have got me defending Lincoln. That's where we are in America today.
So what happened here
Sure.
at the
One person complained that he was offended.
one person
One
complained,
person.
and it got the. Now I did see, and I'm going to scroll down here, and hopefully I can still find the picture. Maybe not. I did see a picture earlier of and the video's playing there. Of course, we don't have the audio up for it, but the what would you call it?
bust.
The shelf? Yeah, the shelf where the bust was is now just an empty shelf.
Poof.
Just so where do they put it? Because I know that's their scapegoat all the time. We put it in a museum, so if you want to see it, you can go to the
Probably
museum.
with the Robert E. Lee statues the super wokes took down from the Capitol in
Andrew
Richmond.
Jackson, all that stuff. Yeah.
Andrew Jackson from New Orleans.
Yep, makes a lot
Stonewall
of sense.
Jackson.
Makes a lot of
Robert E.
sense.
Lee.
In Bizarro World.
Yes, thanks, super wokes.
All right. So did you want me to jump? Because I think you had said you wanted me to jump to the next story, or shall I do one of mine?
You can
and
do one
then-
of yours.
I'll do one of
Do
mine.
one of
I'm
yours.
doing an important story. This is one of the
Oh, my
most
God.
important stories ever. Rubber ducky watches that don't tell the time in TikTok views. Now, I never really got into TikTok.
It's run by China, as you know.
And that was one of the initial reasons why I never got into it. Now, look, I've got some friends that, especially veterans in business, that use TikTok videos to promote their products or services. And apparently it's very lucrative because you can do, I guess they're 30-second videos. Is
And
that
to the
right?
young people, it's all about the TikTok videos.
Right,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
and even the marketing company that I use, they're
Right.
like 3 minutes or less, buddy, 3 minutes or less.
30 seconds
So-
TikTok.
So 30 seconds. So I saw this story, and it just made me kind of wonder, is this where we're going? And if so, how much is that watch? Because it's not really a watch. Can you call it a watch? It doesn't tell time.
How
So-
much is that ducky in the window?
So how much is the watch that doesn't tell time? And what do you do with the watch? See the video? I was confused on what they're doing. Are they? Is
magnets
it
involved
magnets,
here?
and you just move the one duck around?
If we're talking about it, then someone successfully marketed it. That's all I can come up with. Otherwise, I don't know what to say.
you do see who the story's on, right? This is NPR.
Of course, narcissistic public radio. I dated one of the reporters, and I know more about weight loss than NPR knows about history.
Well,
Shocker.
I'm here to tell you.
Very nice
Remember
lady.
the old joke when we were kids? What time is it? 2 freckles past a hair. Looks like we're 2 ducks past a. What is that?
Is that like a miniature Ghostbuster?
What is that?
Remember the Michelin Man?
Chris,
Ghostbusters?
what is that?
Stay
Stay Puft! It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man!
Scott, what is that?
It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man!
From Ghostbusters 3.
And why is it magnetic on my wrist?
Because you have a magnetic personality.
And is that the back of someone's wrist, or is it turned over? You know how people see how you wear your watch?
Sure.
Some people wear their watch with the face on the underside.
Psychopaths.
Well, you know, Mike, people always want to be contrarians.
So can you wear this watch with the face on the bottom? And is that a face if it's not a watch?
looks
What
like
is that? Okay, enough of all that. All right, so now we're going to go to the YouTube video for Scott's story.
I just want to point out, to be totally honest, full disclosure, this was from 2 years ago, but it's directly related to the situation we have now with the Supreme Court. In as far as the Supreme Court justice is not being protected, the law is not being currently enforced by the Biden administration or the Attorney General Merrick Garland, and this sets the whole climate.
Can I comment on that
Yeah,
real
sure,
quick,
go ahead.
though? I've seen it on the news, though. They had some, I mean, there were police in front of their houses.
Well, that's a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's
but-
like guaranteed, right?
But the
I mean,
federal law is that people aren't supposed to be protesting in front of their houses. Because the position of the Supreme Court, as you know, it's a lifelong thing. It's more power. It's a check on the Congress and the White
right,
House.
right. Because
So,
I saw some big burly dudes with rifles and all.
I mean,
and
that's a good
body
thing,
armor.
but it's
Yeah.
not. It's not enough. We'll see.
Maybe
what-
they'll muscle some of those.
The protesters shouldn't be at the homes of the Supreme Court justices. And I pulled this up because Schumer sets the
leaked?
example.
Wasn't it leaked? The addresses? Wasn't it
Yeah,
leaked or
all that
doxed?
stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
You're
So
right.
we had to do a whole show on docs in the Supreme Court.
Yeah. That's not cool.
So Schumer is the guy that lectures us on not respecting the rule of law and on not respecting our system and its outcomes. And here he is doing exactly what he
Exactly.
says not to do.
Can you imagine?
Schumer, a hypocrite. I'm shocked.
You ready to roll?
Hit it.
Here we go.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
Splice this.
Twice.
So currently, there is a law which on the statutes that says the Supreme Court justices, people shouldn't be allowed to intimidate them by protesting in front of their homes, right at their actual where they live.
Do they have security? They have like security people?
Specifically, it is unlawful. It is
Correct.
contrary to federal law to protest or demonstrate in front of any place where a judge is permanently or
Exactly.
commonly housed or employed with the explicit intent of altering a judicial decision.
Decisions,
Which is
right.
exactly what's happening.
Correct.
And so the reason for this story is President Biden and Attorney General Merrick Garland are intentionally not enforcing that law to the point where the governors have now responded. The Supreme Court Marshal himself, who is, I guess what, like the judiciary branch equivalent of the Secret Service, he's the Marshal for the Supreme Court.
Kind of.
So he's their top level of authority
Like
and protection.
Sergeant of Arms.
Yeah, for the Supreme Court.
Sounds good.
It's a good analogy. So he's now come out because of the lack of protection from the Biden administration Attorney General, and he's pleading with the governors of Maryland, Virginia to offer protection. So he's literally saying the federal government is intentionally derelict of their duty, just like the border and many other things, and he's pleading with the governors of Maryland, Virginia to specifically protect the Supreme Court justices. I was more responsible when I was a juvenile delinquent in high school, Mike, than the current administration is as far as the protecting our Supreme Court justices. And Stevie Wonder could see is that something bad could happen, and when you don't protect people, it sends the message that bad things are more likely to happen. And I'm like, don't cut yourself on air.
Let me
Don't
ask you a
cut yourself on
question.
air.
How much does a Supreme Court justice make?
I have no idea.
That's a good question, huh? And do they have allocations for funds, like for security?
I think they do, but it's not being used.
Oh, I'm not certain off the top of my head. I believe the Supreme Court justices have a
It wouldn't be part of the
professional
diplomatic security.
offices stipend.
Yeah,
That's part of their
Security.
That's part of what they manage.
to buy paper,
for paying-
cups,
yeah, you-
napkins,
You got to pay all
plastic
the
forks,
interns.
pay your
I think-
interns.
The reason why this story is so important is, as you know, Mike, the Supreme Court justice is a lifetime appointment. Now, in any other branch of government, if some nut on the left or the right does something terrible, okay,
Right.
to the senator, to a president, if some nut on either side does something terrible, it doesn't change the immediate political calculation of power. If some nut does something terrible to the Supreme Court justice, and the person of that party controls the White House and the Senate, it could have an immediate change on the political situation. So, I mean, if anyone is more under siege right now, it's the Supreme Court justice.
All right.
Damn good point, Mike. I'm glad you brought that up. Moving right along. What's our next story?
Amazon Alexas could soon mimic the voice of dead relatives. Now, I'm here to tell you, if in the middle of the night I hear my mother's voice, I'm going to freak. I'm probably going to freak out. Now, where I was concerned was, Alexa can do a lot of things. She can lock your house, and
What can she
open
do
up
for you after midnight?
She can open up your garage door. She can, you can say, "Can you say, hey, Mom?" And your mother your mother that passed away in 1980 answer you back and go, "Yes, Michael," and me go, "Let's listen to 96 Rock." And 96 Rock is gone, Michael, but so are you, Mom. I could have a whole long conversation. I think it's kind of scary, and I think when we're talking about artificial intelligence, we should be very careful. I think you had brought up something about artificial intelligence with Alexa.
Yeah, on the Brushfire Mind, about 2 weeks ago, we did a show. This wasn't Alexa. This was
it Siri?
Google.
Oh.
This was the Google AI platform called
Google AI platform.
Lace or something. I forget what the acronym is, but
I think Bank of America's got one now called Erica.
One of Google
Erica
AI's,
Estrada?
one of Google's AIs has explained to its engineers that it believes it has become intelligent.
Uh-oh.
There is some doubt to the claim, and so the AI hired a lawyer.
Excellent.
The AI did?
Excellent.
AI hired
What
a
the
lawyer.
And if the AI can do that, it can
Welcome
also
to Skynet, my
it can
man.
start sending money to the
Now-
attorney.
What's going to happen in the metaverse?
On Alexa using a dead relative's voice, I just hope that one day my son is in his 50s and Alexa wakes him up in the morning with my voice and he
think
just
I would-
hears, get your booger hook out of your fart filter and give me 15, boy.
That's the funniest part of the story I've heard yet.
So, in a video played by Amazon at the event where they
Oh.
were unveiling it, a young child asked, "Alexa, can Grandma finish reading me The Wizard of Oz?" What if Grandma's not dead yet? All right, let's move on to the next story because this is just creepy. All right, let's go up here to, let's see, Cornell University.
We got that.
All right, responds to a letter of the Supreme
We got
Court.
that. That's it.
Elon Musk. You ready?
I'm ready, Big
Here
Sexy.
we go. It's on you.
I meant to ask you, are you still Big Sexy in the metaverse?
No.
You're not.
I'm
Okay.
military Mike.
All right, so how do you
drop
move
the-
this thing so I can see the story?
Oh, okay. I thought you had read the story.
I have read the story, but
Apparently,
I want to
he hasn't read the story. Look at him. Have we ever had a president that just has got
That's
that,
perfect. We'll just leave it. That's perfect.
just that complete lost look?
He looks like me my first day in a math class when the teacher passed out the pop quiz. I said,
Oh shit, what am I supposed to do?
like Macaulay Culkin and Dan Quayle meets Home Alone.
Oh, I don't know what to do.
Look at that look. This,
So apparently, in this last week of exciting news stories, Biden read the teleprompter in a speech. He literally read the words, end of quote, repeat the line.
good deal. So the words, that's what came up on the
Yes,
teleprompter.
on the
and he just
teleprompter
kept
in front of
reading.
him, and he read, end of quote, repeat the line. We're making Weekend at Bernie's look full of life at this point, folks.
Absolutely.
But don't worry, because we have proper pronouns, so no wonder China and Russia feel so emboldened.
At least Bernie could dance.
Yes,
Whoa!
he can move pretty good.
There are numerous channels on YouTube dedicated to his gaffes.
Yep.
And there are sometimes that I will literally just watch a few of them. Just to make me feel better about myself.
Whatever it takes, Mike. Whatever it takes.
It's one of those things. Sometimes it's late at night. Alexa doesn't really sound like my dead mom, so I switch over to YouTube.
When he says end of quote, repeat the line, staring into, like, I don't know how anyone, what amendment is it that they wanted to get Trump for?
20.
20,
25th.
25th. I'm not a huge fan of Vice President Harris, but if that's not the 25th Amendment, then I don't know what is.
And ironically enough, there are numerous YouTube channels dedicated to Kamala Harris's word salad, is what
Of
they like
course.
to call it. Have you ever listened to her when she has no teleprompter? They get her like when she's coming off the plane.
She did
or
it again
something.
this week.
It's like, well, we're considering about considering
about
some
the
serious
importance
stuff.
of using big words in a sentence that run on forever, so that we are gathered here today to say that fat lives matter.
Absolutely. I'm gonna
yes.
go ahead and say this. I think Kamala smokes pot.
Yeah, it's the
think,
hypocrisy.
I think Kamala smokes pot. I'm just going to go with that.
Yeah, but we don't want to make pot smokers
Kamala
look bad
told
with
us
her.
she smoked pot.
I know, but does she like do it now in the? Well, she's not in the White
That's
House.
not
She's
fair.
in the next.
Mike,
She's
that-
at 1605.
That's an insult to
Pennsylvania
pot
Avenue.
smokers. I know plenty of pot smokers with integrity. Okay, they have it. She doesn't. She went on one of the
She's
radio
not in the main
shows.
house. She's over in the servants' quarters?
Yeah, she's like,
I think she'll be in the big house soon enough.
you think,
Where did it
okay,
start?
you know how when we're setting up, you guys will be like, hey, I'm going to go get a smoke. I wonder if she ever does it. Hey, Secret Service, I'm going to go outside by the rose garden, burn one real quick.
I mean, that's making potheads look bad. Next thing, she's not going to be paying her bills. So, if you're smoking that shit, pay your bills, ladies and gentlemen.
right. That's
Especially if your bills belong to an Italian.
Well, if you're going to set up a good spit roast, you might as well have that smoky flavor.
Oh, boy.
I remember in the campaign, she went on a radio interview and she joked about locking people up, specifically locking up black men when she was Attorney General of California. And in the same sentence, when they asked her, "Did you smoke pot when you were locking the brothers up for it?" she said, "Oh, of course I did."
Yeah.
With that cackle that makes Hillary Clinton look so desirable. Oh my gosh.
About
And
that
Tulsi
cat.
Gabbard, and then Tulsi Gabbard
Yeah.
came into the debates with that big Hawaiian punch.
Yeah.
that nobody saw coming.
Yep.
Fun times.
All right, let's keep this moving because we only got a few more minutes. All right, a man in a wig was detained after throwing a piece of cake at the Mona Lisa.
First of all, why would he waste the cake?
Well, not only that, there's a big glass thing up in front of the Mona Lisa.
But as a fat person, why would you waste a piece of cake?
I don't think he was fat. I think he was small.
No, I'm saying I'm fat.
I would never throw a piece of cake, period.
That offends me as a fat person that a piece of cake was wasted.
Right. So you know what he was screaming when this was all going on?
Allah Akbar?
No.
Oh, my God. That's why we have a comedian on the show.
That may be the
Sabo.
Allah Akbar! That's why I have a
Think
comedian on the
of
show.
the earth. Think of the earth.
They got to use more
That's why I
chemicals to
did
clean
it.
up the cake that he just threw.
Oh, can you imagine? Plus, this is the epitome of a slow news week right here. So the Mona Lisa was removed, and her fame was all the greater. The Louvre said on their website. So they've got to clean everything up now. But
Slow news week. Wait a minute. We had Prime Minister of England step down. The Prime Minister, former Prime Minister of Japan was assassinated.
Yeah, but
And you call this a slow news
those
week?
aren't funny stories.
call it a slow
Those
news
are-
week?
Those are horrible stories.
It's funnier than Cake by the Ocean.
I tell you what, could you imagine the guy who let him in with the piece of cake? Because you can't go in these things. You can't go in the Louvre with food.
That's true.
Yeah, I've been to numerous.
We've
of
tested this rule,
in
right?
Europe, in Europe,
We know.
all these castles and all we used to go to. But if you couldn't even bring bottled water in there.
Understood.
Yeah.
Because of reasons.
That's
for what
exactly
you're
right.
doing.
You couldn't do flash photography. You couldn't do any of that stuff.
Could you flash people though if you're a big
Yeah,
city?
anytime I try to go into a museum, they make me leave my bucket of chicken at the front.
Oh, my
Absolutely.
They don't even let me keep my chicken harness.
That,
I
and,
used-
and
I had
that's
to-
just not fair.
I had to check two large peaches at the Smithsonian once.
I know one thing. I brought gummy bears in a fortress in Germany one time. Me and my great nephew, I guess he
You
would
over
be.
in Germany?
We were eating gummy bears through the whole trip. So
What were you doing in
about
Germany?
2/3 of the way, somebody came up to us and said, "Gummy bears are verboten."
What were you doing in Germany with the gummy bears in the castle?
Well, I lived really close to the gummy bear factory, so
Well, that's a natural. It's like the Kennedys at the Anheuser-Budweiser factory.
absolutely.
Anheuser-Busch.
Well, that's pretty much the end of all of our stories for this week, and it looks like we're coming in about time this time. So, anything else you want to add to it?
No, just always remember to pay your Italians no matter what. That's the lesson of
pay the
today's show.
Italians, and I
Pay
guess
your
if you got to pay
Italians.
the debt. Now, look, I'm still a little. If we're going to go to war with somebody, I don't think we should have to pay our bills.
It's not them. It's our allies and everyone else.
Well, pay
You
them,
understand?
then just don't pay China.
Well,
they got enough money.
maybe we shouldn't be on
their economy.
How
is
about
crap.
we don't have politicians on their payroll in the first place?
That,
we wouldn't get into this
good
mess.
idea.
Hey, we
And
agree.
then I think this
I
week
have a
too.
better idea. Why don't we issue China a series of fines in the amount of $30 trillion
See, now we're
for the
thinking
recovery
Of COVID.
of COVID.
Boom.
of stolen U.S. intellectual properties?
Boom. Now we're talking.
Yeah, that happens.
As long
a
as
lot.
there's a legal
You know,
foundation for
we
it.
tried that with Russia a couple years back because we had found a Russian sub.
Sure.
This was late 80s, mid 80s. We found a Russian sub, and when we got in there, we started digging around. We found Texas Instrument circuitry and stuff like that. It was like,
But shouldn't we also
Where'd you get that
assess
from?
for what China did to us with COVID? Intentionally spreading it around the whole world?
yeah, well, I don't
Like
think
Mr.
I don't
Producer
think they've
said?
ever actually proven that, have they?
I thought that we know for a fact China let those planes out from
They
their
let it
airport.
out, But
From Wuhan,
yeah,
when they knew it was happening.
Look, we're not going to get into
This
this.
is a can of worms.
All right.
This would be a great story for perhaps next week.
We'll bring it up in the future. Stay tuned for Big Sexy and the Senate Comedian.
Oh, still big sexy.
Big sexy.
I mean. Hey, this is Military Mike. This is not necessarily not the news. Hey, listen to any of our stations on the Foxhole Internet Radio Network. You can tune in daily to the Brushfire Mind. Scott, you performing anywhere that
Well,
you can talk about?
I try not to brag about my private life, Mike, but
Well,
once I pay you, I might be having an appearance at Beau Rivage Casino. But that's because I'm a degenerate gambler. It's not a comedy appearance.
so when you said don't cash a check, you were actually going to go try to win
No, I got to pay
sufficient
you
funds.
first. No, that's the thing. I got to pay you first. Or I
Here's
can't-
a check. I'm going down to
You
Biloxi.
got to pay your Italians first before you can go. That's the only way to do it.
All right, guys.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I hope everybody had a great 4th of July. We're about a week past that now, but we didn't do a show that week. Anything else?
Well, let's see. I did 7 miles of cardio 4 days in a row, so you might want to buy a lottery ticket.
Man, I get tired driving 7 miles.
If my fat ass can do 7 miles 4 days in a row, anything is possible, America.
Anything
Stay
is
positive,
possible.
and that's it.
Remember, if you're worrying about something, you're just waiting around for chaos.
Make your own luck, folks. Stay positive. We'll see you next Tuesday at 7.
2 birds in a bag are better than 3 fish in a... Okay, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I was just trying to come up with something so he had plenty of time to splice the outro into it. Don't look at me in that tone of voice.
Well, I've enjoyed your company, Mike. We'll see everybody next week, Tuesday at 7 o'clock. That's it. We're out.
See ya.